So I've been using SSL Native Channel Strip 2 for about 6 months straight. And I've been through all kinds of highs and lows with it. Like I've tried switching it out for other plugins and trying changing up the way I do my background noise removal and the way I might boost things and the way I might EQ and compress and all that stuff. No matter what happens, I keep going back to this plugin. And before I tell you more about that, I want to mention two quick things. One, I have a cold, so bear with me. I probably sound a little weird. Two, only 20% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and I would really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to hit 500 so I can do channel polls and shit. It'd be really great. Anyway, let's move on. You like that little transition? Trying something new. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new editing style. I'm gonna do background music and all kinds of other, shit. We're gonna try to be more appealing. Anyway, so I have two instances of Channel Strip 2 here, and let me explain why I have two. The first one, which is right here in my signal chain, is going to be the one on the left, and the second one is the one on the right. I use a high pass filter in here. For some reason, no matter what I do with ProQ3 and other plugins and stuff, the high pass filter just feels so non-linear phase. It affects the other low frequencies a bunch, but Channel Strip 2 doesn't do that. It's great because if I turn it off, you can see that it affects the background noise removal pretty poorly. You can see that in both. I run two expanders, so I just put that to 45 hertz. It handles all that. All the super low end that you can't hear, it's gone. Makes the expander perform better. Moving down the line, I don't use the EQ, but that's not because it's, not good or anything like that. It's because I use ProQ for my vocal EQ. It's just more efficient for me. But I will give you an example of how this EQ sounds. Let's check that out. So here's an example of how the EQ sounds just using Channel Strip. Now here's my ProQ. I understand it looks weird because I zoomed in really crazy. It's actually not a big cut, but you can see I have that bypass. Now I will say, because I did some cutting and stuff, I did boost the output of this by 4 decibels. It's not much, right? I'm gonna reset that real quick, and you're gonna hear how it sounds with no EQ, and you're gonna hear how it sounds with the ProQ. Obviously, I'm a fan of this. I like that there's de-essing. I have some dynamic bands here that affect the de-essing of it, but that's not to say like if I were to use this, it would sound any worse, really, quote unquote. This is totally 100% usable. I just like to have the surgicalness of the ProQ. Anyway, moving on. So we've switched out of the SSL EQ and we're back to the ProQ. I want to move on to compression now, because right now I'm using a CLA 2A from Waves. It's just a very, very light compression. I really only hit this if I get really loud. Let me show you an example of how Channel Strip would sound instead of using 2A. So we've gone ahead and bypassed the 2A, and I'm handling this. You see if I get loud, I'm only hitting it when I get loud. I'm handling it the same way. I am doing a fast attack, like no release, lower threshold, and a ratio about 5. As far as compression goes, there's nothing wrong with this. You don't need to use anything but Channel Strip 2. In fact, let's try that real quick. So here's an example of just using Channel Strip on its own. Now I am running 2 of them because I wanted to have the more fine-tuned EQ, and I wanted to have the limiting idea. When you set it to peak, it's more like a limiter than it is a compressor. I have this doing the light compression over here, and I have this do more of a limiting, but this gives us an opportunity to talk about my favorite part of this entire thing. That's the expander. I love the expander in Channel Strip 2. I don't think there's a better one. I've tried so many of them. Channel Strip's just a way to go, bro. We're gonna turn this all the way down. You're gonna hear, there's a lot of fucking noise in my room. There's so much noise. I just got a noisy house, man. There's like an air conditioner going on and shit. It's just noisy in here. Now with one expander, it's honestly pretty solid, but I'm a serious perfectionist, so I went ahead and much lighter. I added a second one, so you can see it really just kills all the noise, but it does it in a really nice kind of dynamic, more just natural way. I think it sounds great. And so I've always been a great fan of it because I've tried so many different plugins that are like expanders and, noise reduction stuff. They always sound weird. They have like some sort of YouTube compression sound. This doesn't do that. It's so transparent. It's my favorite. I don't think I'm ever going to find a better expander than this. So I've gone ahead and switched back to my usual sound so you can get a quick comparison. Honestly, they're interchangeable for me. If I really wanted to sit down and only use Channel Strip, I could. This is probably one of the most powerful plugins out there right now. Not even to mention, when you mix this with other SSL plugins, you can turn this into a sort of console, digital console. The last feature I want to go over is the way they have their sort of order of operations here. You can see it goes filters first, EQ the next, and then dynamics. If you wanted to, you could do something like dynamics first and then EQ after filters. So your filters is like the low pass and the high pass. You could have the high pass go, and then you could have the expander, and then you could have the EQ if you're using the EQ. That would make the expander work a little better, I would assume, right? Because then you're not, the EQ's not fucking. If you were to boost bass or something, that would affect the expander, shit like that. So that's pretty neat. And you can get such an amazing sound so effortlessly. When I did all that EQ stuff, it took me maybe a minute and it sounded great. After 6 months of using this thing, I can very confidently say I don't think I'm ever switching to another plugin for most of the shit I do. A lot of times, if I don't feel like fucking with Pro Q, if I don't feel like fucking with the CLA shit, I just throw this on there and it works. It really is just that simple. I use this in my guitar tracks. I use this in most other tracks. Like, I don't think there's a plugin I've found that I use more than this. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. Anyway, this video's gone on too long. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments how you feel about the new editing style. Join my Discord, of course. Go in there. I'll help you out if I can. Thanks for watching.